The Saturday NFL Tailgate Party by OffshoreInsiders.com for Saturday, August the 16th is here. We're going to get the pro betting intel in just one moment. Joe Duffy's picks enters Friday night on a 7-2 tear with preseason football. 2 wise guy plays are up for Saturday and 2 majors. Again, this Friday card is pending as we file this. Get 4 NFL winners for Saturday from the NFL specialist, 27th year in the business, Joe Duffy's picks at OffshoreInsiders.com, www.offshoreinsiders.com. Now, here is the intel that pro betting syndicates depend on. The first game we're going to take a look at, the Green Bay Packers and the St. Louis Rams. The Rams are -2.5, -115 and 41. Safety has gone from a major weakness to a strength for the Cheeseheads. As good as the Packers feel about Jordy Nelson, receiver Randall Cobb, and running back Eddie Lacy, they don't really have all that many other weapons for star quarterback Aaron Rodgers. No one from the tight end group has emerged as the new favorite to replace Jermichael Finley. Aaron Rodgers will play quarterback, but with the additions of defensive tackles, Arnold Donald and Alex Carrington, the defensive line of the Rams is the deepest and best in the league. So head coach Mike McCarthy wouldn't say how long Rodgers will play, but most experts agree a series or 2. More than that would be a little bit of a surprise. He's also been kind of coy whether Scott Tolzien or Matt Flynn will go in second behind Rodgers, but also a lot of handicappers would agree that since there's no clear-cut better quarterback, that may not even make a big difference handicapping-wise. The aforementioned shift to a run-centric offense will be buoyed by the offseason addition of number 2 pick Greg Robinson for St. Louis and running back Trey Mason, as well as retention of guard Roger Saffold. The power of more than 620 sports services behind each and every play on the Master Lock line, which also traces its roots back to the 976 score phone days of the early 1980s. The Master Lock line is on OffshoreInsiders.com. The Giants and the Colts. The Colts are laying 2 with a total 41. Colts wide receiver Hakeem Nicks has admitted he wants to prove his critics wrong as he plays his former team. That being said, he hasn't looked all that great in practice. Now, their top wide receiver, Reggie Wayne, is questionable for the Colts. He claims he wants to play. Journeyman Curtis Painter has jumped up to the number 2 spot ahead of Ryan Nassib for the Giants. The Giants' offense has struggled, but the starters are expected to play a lot more this week, and a lot of indications are that the Giants' offense feels they've got something to prove. Giants' starting offense didn't even complete a pass during the preseason game against the Steelers and didn't really make any big plays through the air in the preseason opener either. Remember, the Giants are one of the 2 teams that has 2 games under their belt, so there may be an advantage there. Giants starting left tackle Will Beatty is expected to return after missing the first 2 games. His replacement, Charles Brown, has been a major problem when he's out there, so this is a big upgrade. New starter Brandon Mosley played better in Game 2 for the Giants. Rookie wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr., their first-round pick, is practicing, but now it looks like he's going to be doubtful here. Starting a solid and very good cornerback Trumaine McBride is also expected to make his preseason debut for the Giants. Colts will have cornerback Vontae Davis and safety LaRon Landry, meaning most of their starting defense should play. Receiver T.Y. Hilton is also going to play despite missing a couple practices. But again, how much he will play, it should be Chuck Pagano, head coach's discretion. T.Y. Hilton has talked about he wants to prove that he is a go-to receiver. Andrew Luck will play about a quarter. He the quarterback, obviously, the franchise quarterback for the Colts. But he'll be playing behind an offensive line that's missing 2 starters, Khalid Holmes and rookie Jack Mohort. We don't know if he'll be available. Holmes almost definitely out. Mohort is listed as questionable to doubtful. With Vic Ballard lost for the season, the Colts' running game is going to rely heavily on Trent Richardson after a rough debut in Indianapolis last year. And, of course, Ahmad Bradshaw, his surgically repaired neck, holding up. The Ravens and the Cowboys. Baltimore now a 1-point road favorite with a total of 41. Now, Dallas had said that the quarterback Tony Romo will make his preseason debut, as will running back DeMarco Murray. Don't look for either to play all that long. Both are coming back from injuries. Now, Romo has missed some practices. He has not practiced 3 days in a row yet in training camp, and it looks like he had practiced only 11 out of the first 15. So some people are speculating that he won't play at all, but reports seem to indicate he should get a few snaps. Safety Ahmad Dixon is expected back to practice. And Jason Garrett said the hope is that Dixon will play. And returning Ravens starting cornerback Ladarius Webb is also doubtful, as he was last week. Running back Ray Rice started the preseason opener. He's likely going to be with the first-team offense in this game because of his suspension at the beginning of the year. He's expected to not be played in Week 3, which is generally considered the dress rehearsal, so he might actually get a lot of extra carries tonight. Wide receiver Steve Smith, the big preseason acquisition, off-season acquisition for Baltimore. He had 64 catches last year for Carolina. Tight end Dennis Pitta is questionable for Baltimore. And the Cowboys have only 7 healthy defensive linemen. Then they just picked up off of the scrap heap defensive tackle Zach Minter, which actually makes it 8. Jerome McClain has been sidelined since the first week of training camp with an ankle sprain. And they made a trade. So they're very thin on the defensive line. The Jets and the Bengals. Again, offshoreinsiders.com is going to have your winning information all year long. Remember Joe Duffy's picks, 7-2 with NFL preseason picks with intel like this. And that is entering Friday night, which is pending as we file this. Probably going to be a much better record by the time some of you hear this on Saturday. But get at least 4 Saturday winners, including 2 wise guy plays from the Grandmaster Handicapper, me, Joe Duffy. Jets and the Bengals minus 3.5 and 41. Wide receiver Eric Decker, running back Chris Ivory, each missed practice quite a few days this week. They are considered questionable. Jets are very thin at cornerback because of injuries. It was a suspect position at the start of camp, and now they've got 4 of their top 10 cornerbacks are battling injuries. Head coach Marvin Lewis says Cincinnati starting quarterback Andy Dalton is going to play 15 to 25 snaps. He also said the backup quarterback Tyler Wilson, just off the waiver claim, should get some playing time, as Jason Campbell looks like he's probably not going to play with a bruised throwing arm. He has not officially, though, been ruled out. And also another backup, Matt Scott, has been limited with a sore shoulder. The Bills and the Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers rookie linebacker Ryan Shazier, their first-round pick, is expected to make his debut. Keep in mind that the Steelers are very excited about a new, young, rebuilt defense, and Shazier, perhaps the best of them all. They're very deep. The Pittsburghs are at tailback, including Dry Archer, who is listed as a wide receiver. Buffalo is 6 deep with NFL quality cornerbacks, which is a huge improvement from last year. The Dolphins and Buccaneers, brought to you by offshoreinsiders.com. Please visit us each and every day. Also, can I ask you a quick favor? If you like these podcasts, can you please go to iTunes, give us a positive review? The experts tell us if we get positive reviews, it'll help our exposure, and the more exposure we get, the more motivation we've got to give you this free information. So please, and it only take a couple minutes of your time, go to iTunes. Please rate us 5 stars if you think we're deserving of it, and you'll help us out. We'll help you. Dolphins and the Buccaneers. Dolphins receiver Mike Wallace expects to make his 2014 debut. Missed last week's preseason opener. The speed is still there, say the scouts. Dolphins' deepest position, though, does present a lot of difficult decisions, as they are deep at the wide receiver position. Even says that Rashard Matthews, who was kind of had clashes with the coaching staff last year, he is on the same page this year. And they got Wallace Hartline, Brandon Gibson, Jarvis Landry. Tampa, meanwhile, is thinned at defensive back. Mike Jenkins, Rasheed Melvin, Calvin Lewis all missed practice this week. And defensive end Steven Means is out. Running back Nashawn Moreno will likely miss for some precautionary reasons. Matt Moore was well regarded as a backup for the Dolphins, but he has struggled in camp. Remember, journeyman, and we do mean journeyman, Brady Quinn was signed as a possible backup. Third stringer Pat Devlin was cut. So behind Ryan Tannehill is sensational in the opener. Perfect 6 for 6 for 62 yards and a touchdown against Atlanta, but they are very thin after that. A lot of question marks. But some battles. Tampa Bay offensive line has not looked very good in the preseason. They are especially thin at guard. Falcons and the Texans. It looks like running back Steven Jackson will be out for Atlanta. We don't expect him to play at all during the preseason. Despite a hard opening game, Ryan Fitzpatrick still the starting quarterback for Houston. Case Keenum and Tom Savage are in a battle for backup. Texans linebacker Brian Cushing, running back Arian Foster, and wide receiver Andre Johnson all return to practice. Cushing, we think, though, error on the side of caution. He's doubtful, but the other 2 will likely play. Remember, Texans rookie sensation Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watt anchor the defense, which is the strength of this team. Falcons have a big battle at backup tight end. Cardinals and the Vikings from OffshoreInsiders.com. Vikings franchise running back Adrian Peterson will not be playing. Matt Castle, the current starting quarterback for the Vikings, is expected to get more playing time this week. Remember, rookie Teddy Bridgewater, he's just keeping the seat warm for him, but Bridgewater has struggled in practice off of a so-so debut. Arizona quarterback Logan Thomas has been outstanding. He's expected to get a lot of playing time for Arizona. Minnesota is very thinned at safety as Andrew Sendejo, Robert Blanton, Jamarcus Sanford, and Mistral Raymond are all doubtful to play. They've got very little depth at tight end. Looks like quarterback Carson Palmer and wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald have agreed that the offense for Arizona is, and we quote, light years ahead of where they were last year. Keep in mind, Arizona finished the season 7-2 and then destroyed Houston in the opener. So going back to the second half of last year, really the final 60% of last season and so far this preseason, the offenses look good. Entire defensive line is back from last year. Most of Arizona's nucleus is back on defense, and they are, of course, considered to be very deep on the defensive side of the ball. Please, OffshoreInsiders.com is a place you want to go for winning football picks, winning college, every single sport we win at OffshoreInsiders.com. And most importantly, for free information like this, please subscribe to us on YouTube or subscribe to us wherever you're watching or listening to us, and visit us daily, www.offshoreinsiders.com.